talks have been successful. I've had some really doozy losers out there. But if this goes badly, have I just convinced all of you to go and do something else? Right? Yeah. Okay, so the good news is, as we've heard all day today, the audience is our advocate as a speaker. And so I ask you to be my advocate as a speaker, because it's a tough thing sometimes to think about what you want to say and the tools and tips for you to take away with. Because you're done now, right? Congratulations, you listened to every piece of amazing advice that Andrea had for you. And if you don't listen to every piece of that advice, shame on you, because it's good, right? Follow directions. Shockingly few people do that, so start there. But you got it. And let's assume for the moment that your talk your call for proposal required an outline. So not only do you have an abstract, but you have an outline. You're done, right? You're done. Because all you've got now to do is to build one slide per major bullet point on your outline, and you are ready to go, right? It's that simple, isn't it? Not really. What I want to do with you for the next, 20 minutes or so, is to talk about this journey. Because every talk is a journey. And that journey has 4 passengers. They're all equally important, but there are 4 passengers on this journey. The first one is you, the audience. You're an important passenger on my journey for this talk. The second one is your context. The third one is your content. And the fourth one is you. And so we're going to go through this journey together, and we're going to think about how you manage a complex journey. I don't know about you, family car trips, not my favorite. My mom and dad threw us in the back seat of a Ford LTD station wagon, and we drove around the country. Not my favorite. But every journey has the possibility to make lifelong memories. Every talk changes you and changes your audience. That's what we've got. So let's talk a little bit about the audience. The audience is a really important thing to think about. Are you having a technical talk? Are you talking to other people in a technical area? Are you the technical speaker in front of a board of directors who aren't technical? Are you talking about a policy topic in front of a technical audience? What is that connection point that's there? That's really an important thing to think about. What are the demographics? Shockingly, my 23-year-old daughter doesn't hear me the same way as my 7-year-old mother. It doesn't happen. I can say exactly the same thing, they'll each take something else. How did I reach both of them? If they don't know? Am I talking to teenage boys? Am I talking to a room full of adults? Understanding that demographic is incredibly important because you're speaking to and with your audience. What are the cultural realities? Are you talking in the United States of America? Are you talking overseas? Is finger pointing to make your point up on the chart appropriate or not? Should you use your entire hand? Right? No. Take a little time. Think it out. Learn it out. As you're reading the call for proposals or call for papers, they'll talk a little bit about who the audience is as you think about what conference, what event, what meetup you're talking to. They'll have a little bit of snippets about that. Go back to that when you start building your presentation. Because that's really an important thing for you to get right. The other one is using the clicker. Because we have all, I'm pushing hard. I'm holding it down. There we go. Thank you. Okay. And it's not, when you think about your audience, knowing all that's really important because you're taking your audience on this journey. Right? What do you want your audience to think? That's great. What do you want them to learn something? You want them to expand. But knowledge doesn't turn into action unless it's connected to a motivation. That motivation is what do you want them to feel? and then what action do you want them to take? So here's what I want you to do, right? I want you to walk out of today, just like everyone else who's been up here, believing you can submit an abstract language. I believe you can do it. I want you to believe that you can do it. Recognizing the experience you have to share, the security knowledge that you have that somebody else needs to know, the privacy experience you have that someone else could apply. I want you to feel inspired and confident. I want you to believe that we all get nervous, that I hate public speaking, fascinating, that I am introvert. All of these are true. I mean, they are actually true. That doesn't mean it isn't a necessary part of how I engage with the community. It doesn't mean it's not a necessary part of how you need to engage with the community. I want you to believe, and in the next 3 months, pick a conference, pick a community that will help you review your abstract, write what you think, you pick your topic. The good news is we're going to give you a head start in this session, so you're going to walk away with the first step already accomplished, which is good. And then, because we're at RSA, might as well submit for next year. Make my job harder. I get to the privilege of this year I have the privilege of being on the program committee here. Make my job harder. Make me read a proposal from every single one of you. Right? I want to see 300 to 600 in some of these tracks because everyone in this room decided to submit something. I'm game. Are you? Okay. So, context. We're on this journey. You've now thought about your audience. I know what you want. I want you to think. I know what I want you to feel. I know what I want you to do. But as you're building your presentation, context matters. Let me tell you a story. How I talk to you, 250 people in this room, is going to be a little bit different than if I were having a meetup with this table. Right? I would be right there with you, right? Not up here on the stage. If your venue is being videotaped, these lovely people in the back videotaping, you're limited to a particular part of the stage you're allowed to be on. If I were wandering around the audience, it might complicate things. They don't like that very much. So, understand your venue. No, I am a wanderer. I like to walk around. I like to interact with my audience. I have to find ways to understand the venue so that I know what that looks like. My least favorite presentation was 4:30 in the afternoon just before ice cream. Yeah. Room was dark, they were videotaping, and I was in a little, the stage was about yay big, there was a podium right here. 4:30 in the afternoon, all everybody was thinking about was ice cream. There was about 1,000 people in the room. I swear, 900 of them were on their phone. Right? Because everybody was thinking about ice cream. Had I known, and that I didn't do the homework to understand my venue and my time and my content, I would have prepared the talk in a different way had I recognized that. So take the time to understand it. Take the time to understand the room setup, to know whether there's going to be rows of stadium seating, tables in the round. All of that information is oftentimes available to you when you get when the venue is selected. You can connect with your super research individual and to find that out. These are not hidden activities, but it takes you an extra step. Because it's an important part of how you carry forward. Literally, ice cream. It was me and the Mickey Mouse eared on a stick. I swear nobody remembered my talk. They remembered the ice cream. I obviously remember it. So, now you've got it, right? You've thought about this journey. You know your audience. You understand them. You understand the context. You've got your venue. You understand the location. You know what your time slot is. Are you the last speaker of the day, the first speaker of the day, the last speaker before lunch? Right? There are lots of options for that. Is it a venue that you made out the whole time? You've got to match your energy and match your cost for all of those things. But now, you've got to turn that content into something somebody wants to hear. Okay? You put an outline together. Let's figure out how to want to get across. The great news is you wrote an abstract. Think about that as your executive summary. The thesis, the main thing you want to highlight. Focus on a few things. Recognize that humans hear slower than we speak. You throw a ton of information out there, even if you've got a slide with it all on there, people are going to take away what they take away. Focus on what you want them to take away. So pick a few bullet points, a few things that are important. Always connect back to your main idea. Remember what we learned in English? Your intro, tell them what you're going to tell them. Your body, tell them what you tell them. Your conclusion, or your body, tell them. Your conclusion, tell them what you told them. Always link back to that main idea. What was it what content sold the program committee on having you on stage? Tie back to that. Make sure people walk away with what they want. Now, humans remember things better if they have minds, if they've got ways to link them together. So create a structure for your content. Maybe it's chronological, this is a thing that's important for you to get from beginning to end. Maybe there's a format mechanism that makes sense. Create a structure so people can grasp and understand. I created a structure for you. What do I want you to think? What do I want you to feel? What do I want you to do? Right? I want you to think about building your charts. I want you to organize around content. Humans remember that when you do this. So create structures that allow people to tie back to them. So our opening, right? This is the grabber. Back to the hook in your abstract. Give your reasons. Be clear. What is it you want them to say? What do you want them to walk away with? Bond with your audience. Let me take a few examples you've heard today. Joyce did a phenomenal job at the beginning telling you why she danced up on the stage, didn't she? Right? Andrea did a great job talking about why she thinks it's so important for this topic. Elena connected with you in terms of how you physically have to engage. I stood up here and told you I was kind of nervous. Right? Bond with your audience. Make that emotional connection, even in a technical talk. You do it differently for that, right? But make sure there's a connection with your audience. Introduce your main point. Do it in the first 2 minutes. That's your hook. You've got them here. Be really, really careful, though. How many of you have been in this talk where you get partway through and somebody goes, oh, I covered that already. I covered that here 5 slides ago. Oh, I did that already. Yep, kind of got to miss that one, right? Don't give your whole talk at the beginning. Bond with your audience. Give them your main point, your thesis. Do it in the first 2 minutes. Don't do anything more than that in your opening. It's a balance. You'll get it with practice. And in that bonding, it's fine to introduce your expertise, but the point is not to stand up there and give them your entire CV or your entire resume. Right? You own the stage. You are there because you have the topic that they want to hear about. Don't defend yourself to them with your resume. Defend yourself to them with your content. So, we've done that. Main body. Think about this a little bit. We're in the main body right now of the presentation just to, guidepost you. Remember what I call the 6 R's of oral writing. Now, I wish I could take credit for this. A wonderful writer gave me these 6 R's. But you've heard them a bunch today. Be real. Don't try to be somebody you're not. It's okay to model something that you want to practice like, but don't try to be something you're not. Be real. People need to hear it again and again and again and again. There's nothing wrong with that. Repeat it. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them. Think about rhetoric. Remember we said humans do better remembering if they have a mnemonic. Rhetoric is a mnemonic. Either alliteration, like guiding words, something around the 6 R's. You can see the connection. your rhythm. Don't just go really, really fast. I have this really bad habit. I talk really, really fast, and maybe I come from New York. I don't know. And when I get there, did you get any of that? Right? But if I have a cadence where I'm highlighting what's important, use your voice, use it in the right pace for the topic, find your rhythm, create that rhythm. And go back and forth. Don't just pick one cadence, right? Like the Bueller, right? Go back and forth. Use it, pick it up, go back and forth. We do a lot of talking about numbers at security conferences. It's a big deal, and it's really important. Making those numbers real, putting them in context, and making them memorable is also important. Analogies are phenomenally good for this. Let me give you one. I'm not sure the slide goes quite this way, so if I got it wrong. How many people do you think are in this room? Okay, how about you can put 5 school buses worth of people in this room? You'll never forget that, will you? There are 5 school buses worth of people in this room. Make the number memorable. Find a way to help people recognize it. Tell relevant stories, ice cream, relevant story. Connect to your audience through that particular activity. Don't be afraid to use quotations. Martin Luther King this morning. So doing a great job there. John F. Kennedy. The part of it. Don't be afraid to do that. It's your idea. It's your topic. It's connected to something else that the audience will connect to. Using analogies and examples. Back to my 5 school buses. 5 school buses worth of people in this room. Not a number you're ever going to forget. And now the closing. Something all equally important because people remember what happens at the beginning and they remember what happens in the end, and if you do a good job, they'll remember some things in the middle too. So, challenge and inspire. I like to close every talk I give with a call to action. If you talk at RSA, they'll tell you that every presentation you give should have an apply slide. What do you want to do in the first week? What should you do in the first 3 months? What should you do in the first year? How do you apply it? Remember, you want, on this journey you and your audience are on, you want them to think something, you want them to say something, but more importantly, you want them to do something. That call to action makes that really clear. Either you want them to take the knowledge you just shared with them and apply it in their workplace. You've given them a first step. You want them to go out and write a call for abstracts and present. You want them to join your community because you don't understand the problem deeply enough and you need more eyes and ears within it. You're building a framework. You want them to test it. There are lots of reasons, lots of different things. But make sure that part of what you do is to challenge individuals. Always return to the beginning, right? Why you're there, back to your thesis, sum it up. Why are we here? What do we want them to do? What did you tell them? You can choose to end by asking the audience a question. That is an interesting way to do it. Think about your context. Sometimes that works well in smaller groups and larger groups. But it's always an interesting one. Leave them with something to ponder. Or end with a quote or a story. Always tying back to what do you want them to think? What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to do? Because you've taken the time to share your expertise, and there is no one in the world with the same expertise as you. Do you know that? You're the only you in the world. Right? So you are the only one that has filtered that expertise through your experience. And you can share that with anyone else. You can end in a way that helps them. So, thought about all of that. Do you use notes? Do you not use notes? How do you decide what to say on every slide? How many words do you put on the slide? Back to context. In a room full of 1,200, perhaps no words on a slide. Perhaps just pictures. In a smaller room, more words. Think about what you want folks to do, but build your talking points. Slide what you want to say and your slides, should relate to each other. How many of you have been in an audience where you're sure that that person is talking about something, but it has nothing to do with what is up on that chart? And you're like, am I in the wrong place? Are they in the wrong place? Take the time. Make sure that you've done this connection. Take the time. Make sure that the audience will hear what you want them to hear about this. Really prepare your notes. I am not comfortable reading. I like to wander. I need my crutch. Here, in case I lose my place, whatever that is. Not staring at it. But prepare your notes. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Number one mistake I find that speakers who talk a lot do is think they don't need the time to prepare. Take the time to prepare. It's incredibly important. Know your deadlines. If you get accepted, if the program committee likes your abstract and now you're accepted, you're at this point, but you blow every deadline, but in the chances they're going to accept you in the next time, even if your talk is exceptional. It takes work to put together one of these presentations, and to put together one of these conferences. These slides needed to be loaded on this computer sometime before, 5 minutes before I got here. Increases the likelihood that something will go okay. So know your deadlines. And be respectful of them. If you need to blow them, with the individual. Oftentimes they'll be very open to that. They just need to know. Find your style. You've heard a lot today about how important it is to be your authentic self on the stage. There's enough stress associated with public speaking that if you try to be somebody else, it doesn't work. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different style. You've seen lots of people who are incredibly successful standing right here and giving a presentation. You have been enthralled when they're there, haven't you? And then there have been people who just stood here and they, really good. Right? Find your style. Test it out. Don't be afraid at a conference to come in to an unopened room or to a room without somebody in it and say, okay, what would it look like for me? Visualize yourself in that space. Understand what that looks like. I know I'm a wanderer. It's what makes me I can stand behind the podium when it's necessary. That's my style. It's not everybody's. And it's okay that it's not everybody's. And maybe you don't know what your style is at the beginning. Borrow a few. Try out something. Make it your own. But it's all right to try somebody else's. Own your space. We talked about how your voice is the most important way of owning something. But my job is to engage everybody across this room, right? To make sure that even the folks in the back over there are not on their phone while I'm talking, right? Or over there, the poor folks who didn't get a seat at the table and are sitting in the back are not uncomfortable. They're engaged. Own the room you design. So be confident. Take it. It's okay to take it. But be confident and recognize that you own this space, right? This is your space. Own your space. I walk around so that I can engage with different parts of the audience as a part of what I'm trying to do. It's important to do that. Ooh, prepare for what you're afraid of. You've heard a couple of places where something might go wrong. My fear plan, build your fear plan. Think about it. It is. I had this wonderful moment. Wonderful moment. I'm keynoting at a conference in Washington, D.C. I'm standing on the stage with a whole audience full of senior government individuals. I totally lost my place. Brain completely fried, right, in that moment. I was like on a roll. I knew what I wanted to say. I got to this part of the stage, and I went, oh, that's interesting. What was next? Right? I had a fear plan, right? I was like, okay, pull my crutch, pick something, start there. No, it's nervous energy is energy. Use it to your advantage. Know your fear plan. I have a real fear of going ass over tea kettle up the stairs. Sorry, my grandmother said that word, so it's the way I think about it, right? Real fear of going ass over tea kettle up the stairs. Has it happened? Yes. No. Did I do as great a job as Joyce with having music on demand? No. But it was a good talk. Gave me something to think about. Let me share a story with you. But don't avoid this. Think about it. Over-preparedness creates opportunity. Think about strategies for reducing filler words. The the o, the so, the well. You've heard that a lot? My plan was every time I practiced, I counted until I counted my way out. It's like, gotta work better on that next time. Or one of my children helping, whole range of options, but build a strategy. Don't let this keep you from starting. This is part of practice and a part of finding your style. Practice, practice, practice. My aunt is a kindergarten teacher, and she regularly reminds me that practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. So practice, learn, critique, apply. Be willing to do it. It helps you get confident with your content. You know this stuff better than anybody else because you're the only one that's experienced it. Get comfortable and confident with it. Think about your timing. I call this the 12-year-old Sunday school problem. You have a 45-minute slot, and all of a sudden you find you're talking really fast, and you're done in 20 minutes. Well, gee, what are you going to do with the remaining 20? Had you practiced, figured that out? You think the other part of the 12-year-old Sunday school problem is you think you got 20 minutes of content, and it goes an hour, and now you're late, and then the conference are late. So really think about the amount of time that you have. 3 minutes a slide is a good judge. Not a great one, but about 3 minutes a slide if you're going to be talking there. Build your community. Practice with your colleagues. Find someone and say, hey, would you listen to me for a minute? I'm not sure I have this quite right. When I said it this way, did you understand to present in this way? What did you remember? Practice your fear plan. Notice the practice, 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 practice. Your transition words, right? Figure these things out, try them out, get comfortable with them. That's